These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.
And welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our second segment, and you're right, we're about to Bruk It Down with Jenny. Jenny, good morning.
Hey, so nice to see you guys.
It's so nice to have you in. Your voice is actually so soothing. Like, I feel, as much as you're not here with us, I feel your presence, and I'm really thankful for that, Jenny. Thank you so very much.
You're such a sweetheart. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You know what? Times are hard mentally for a lot of people. Times are hard. We still can't wrap our minds around how to change or how to cope with the times, how to change it so we could, better suit us. This COVID-19 pandemic is really putting a damper, whether it being it in the workplace, being it at home, your social life. These things have changed us. And, learning about, especially for folks learning about their diagnosis and what people are going to say. Before you venture off there, we would like to know, how are you, Jenny?
Well, I do not have any COVID virus in my system, but I still have residual
symptoms.
One of them is the brain fog.
Wow.
Where I can't, I have a problem remembering words and things like that. The other thing is the fatigue. Oh my gosh, the fatigue is horrible. And that has lasted all this time. I kept asking the doctor, and she said, it will be with you for a few months. Everything doesn't come out of your system all at once. The lack of taste, I can't taste.
Wow.
And I don't, the smell. It's very difficult. So like I put on perfume. I stopped wearing perfume because I can't smell it.
But I don't know if you smell, Jen. That's what we smell.
I've read about this though. Yeah. I've read quite a bit about this. That quite a few people who recover from COVID, they don't have the virus actively, have these symptoms for a very long time, and it's hard to explain to people because it's different for everyone as well.
Yes, everybody has something different.
Yeah.
Clearly, you've lost some weight as well, too, Jenny. You're looking lovely.
I haven't, I've been drinking smoothies, and that's not smart.
Oh,
but
I'd rather have the weight and be alive.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because I can exercise and lose the weight.
Yeah.
But I believe that if I were in a different place, I'd be dead. Seriously.
Wow.
I have people to be grateful to. Like I said, my cousin who caught the pneumonia as it was heading into my lung.
Wow.
And I really feel I owe her my life.
Yeah.
Because she was able to do a lot of the things like get the expectorant and do the chest and the lung, the beating on the lung.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of friends who were not afraid to come and do that for me.
Wow.
I mean, these are people I feel I owe my life to.
Yes.
I'm tearing up just thinking about the fact
That's
that
okay.
they weren't afraid to come.
Yeah, that's
you
okay,
know?
Jen. That's
And
okay.
I want to talk today really about, I'm talking about because the workplace, because some people are treating the folks who become, who contract this illness, who contracted, I call it scorning you.
Yeah.
Remember with HIV, how people used to scorn people and don't want to feed them and then run from them, even though
Treat them like lepers.
Yes, like they had leprosy. Yes, and that's what they do. I have friends, people that I've known all my life, who come and say, "Oh, well, how you get that?" And with that same tone of voice too,
Yeah.
How you get that? Well, you might have done, you get that. And you sure you never come around when you were sick. And then after I recovered, it's this thing of not wanting to come near. They stand away from me, and that's crazy.
Wow.
It's just like the HIV. It really is. Yeah. And so for me, when I've had a couple organizations ask me to talk with their personnel because this thing is real. Some of the people in the workplace are treating their colleagues who they've worked with for years with this scorn.
Yeah.
And I use that word intentionally because it's not just fear. It's almost like
Disgust.
you're trying to infect us. And there's an intentionality about that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I really need to say it. You know?
Let's start. I love your first slide because I think these are questions we need to ask ourselves, and we'd be surprised at how much we have in common with these answers. Before that, Jenny, I just want to say, just to be clear, I was so happy when I got your text about you being COVID free. We're all happy. We knew the risks associated, and so it's so lovely to have you here. And now you have the unique experience of sharing what it's like to have it, and also what it's like to have the entire community know that you have it. So let's get moving into that first slide.
Well, my cover slide says coping with COVID in the workplace. The diagnosis, because good heavens, when people test positive, there's a way that you get treated.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, please be gentle, be tolerant, be kind, but take personal responsibility. Now, we're going to talk about what is personal responsibility, but I just want to say this. People seem to have this attitude that you should wear the mask. Everybody else should be wearing a mask so that I don't have to wear a mask. I had one of my friends call and say that someone in her village had contracted the illness, right? And they wanted the person to come forward and say who it was. I said, why? She said, because we need to know. I said, but why? I don't understand. Why do you need to know that? If you're wearing your mask and if you're keeping 6 feet away from folks and you're making sure that you do that with everyone who is out there interacting with anybody else, if you're taking care of you, then everybody is taking responsibility, yes?
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, and they were putting it on Facebook, demanding that whoever it was come forward.
Yeah.
I just could not understand that.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. So I have a few questions that I want people to think about, and I'm going to say it out loud to you guys, and you can answer if you want to, but it's for the public to look at. What emotions are you feeling at this time? Because I'll tell you, with this unknown illness, it's the first time we've had a pandemic, right? So there's all kinds of emotions that people are going through, and people have different emotions. I was kind of cavalier about it, initially before I got sick. I was really cavalier. I don't know. I think I thought I was invincible.
Yeah.
That I'm not.
Yeah.
What has been the scariest thing about this pandemic? For me, it's been the loneliness, What upsets you most about COVID-19?
The disruption.
Yeah. And what are you currently doing to cope? What are you personally doing to cope?
Yeah.
And I would like to just add into that, what are you doing to help your children cope? Okay.
Very critical questions. And the reason I wanted you to get into it, because I think that if you have this conversation with family members or friends, you really find that we're all on the same page. We're all feeling tired. We're all feeling frustrated. We all don't like the uncertainty, upset that 2020 plans, whatever it was, are out the door, or even goals that you had set out the door. Birthday celebrations aren't the same. We didn't have carnival.
I'm not even going to have a birthday I did not have a birthday this year. I'm having my birthday next year. When I say my birthday, I'm going to be the same age next year because I did not get to.
I love it, Jenny.
I told John the same thing. I was trying to skip my birthday and just be this age again next year, but then he went and sang happy birthday.
Yeah, I didn't allow for that to happen.
I don't think I adequately used this year to celebrate it, so I take on brata.
We celebrated for her. We made sure she celebrated well, Jenny. So she didn't skip.
I'm still going to be the same age next year. I don't care what you say, John.
Oh, so, my God.
Let's talk about what is social stigma.
Okay.
Right? And social stigma is what we do socially to each other. People are being labeled.
Yeah.
They're being stereotyped, right? Discriminated against. We're treated separately, you know? We lose status because of the perceived link to COVID. And you know how we treat sexual diseases in this country? It's almost like they're trying to put COVID into that category.
Yeah.
You know, scorned after recovering from the COVID-19. When you come out of isolation or out of quarantine, that's when people run from you. They don't want to be too near you. And so instead of talking to you, they turn down a street or pretend not to see you.
Oh my gosh.
And people don't understand how painful that is. And I think I have to come out and say it outward so folks hear the kinds of stuff that they're doing. I'm a mental health person, so I just look at you as you're foolish. But what about the people out here who do not have that background?
Yeah.
How deeply this cuts, you know?
Yeah.
So, but why does it cause so much stigma? Well, it's a new disease with many unknowns. I mean, even the CDC and the WHO changed their minds almost from day to day.
Yeah.
There's also fear of the unknown. We don't really know how it's going to react. If I catch it, how is it going to react in my body? But people die.
Yeah.
People die. People have died. You know. Then there is the fear associated with other people, right? We don't know who we can legitimately have around us.
Yeah.
So the confusion, anxiety, and fear is what fuels the stereotypes.
Yeah.
That's my alarm. I don't know why it's gone off. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit further. This stigma that people have, and you know, it's so real. I remember when Dr. Manzanero said that the public transportation didn't want to stop for the nurses along the highway because they were so fearful about COVID-19. And you know, I guess if I could use my personal experience, I think that the fear is that while we know, and we must say it as often as possible, that the majority of people recover. The majority of people will still have their lives at the end. It's just the uncertainty of knowing who will get the severe symptoms versus who won't. So you don't have as many guarantees as you would like to have. So I think that this idea of looking at other people and judging them for getting diagnosed is one that we really have to dive into further. I know one of the things I've said to people is, look, think of how many times you've caught a cold or a flu. Have you ever felt that that person was nasty or reckless or somehow going out seeking that? We've all gotten the cold or flu. It's the same way, the same form of transmission. You can tell me not touch my face every single day on the hour. I probably still will. It's like a compulsion. So my risks are always there. So, you know, I don't know how you break that down so that the stigma can decrease, because I don't think that you went out there willingly trying to get COVID, and I don't think that you were reckless.
And pass it on.
Yeah, and pass it on.
Forget.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's the fear. People are afraid, and I understand fear. I really do.
Yeah.
But also, it comes back down to personal responsibility.
Yeah.
You have to take care of you. You can't want to jump a step and have everybody else take care of themselves and you. If everybody's doing what the medical people are telling us to do, then we will all be okay. But everybody has to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see, where am I?
So you said, what's the impact? Social isolation.
Yes. Social isolation spreads this thing even more, because let me tell you, I know people, and I was one of them. I was firmly believing if I get that sick, I am not going to the hospital, because they're not going to kill me in there.
Yeah.
Because I have this thing I really believe this. If I had to be put on that ventilator, I was going to die, so I might as well die at home.
Yeah.
And I really believe that a lot of people out there have the same idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do not think, now that I've gone through this, I really do not believe that the medical people, I think that's the last resort.
Yeah.
They will do everything else before they have to put you on that. When they put you on that, it's because you're that far gone.
Yeah.
And the longer you stay away from getting the help,
Yes.
the closer you are to having to go on the machine.
Yeah.
So the fear and this thing that people are so afraid, they're not going in early enough to get the assistance that they need.
Yeah.
You know? So the stigma caused people to hide the illness. People are afraid to cough. Listen to me. You're afraid to cough. And I mean, we still have allergies. We still have sinus problems. And you know what I mean? You still cough, for heaven's sake. But if you cough, you should see how people spin around.
Don't do it in public. I sneeze. I have bad allergies. I sneeze in public sometimes. It really is.
You don't want to do that.
That's one of those situations where people scatter. But that is a critical thing, and that's the underlying danger in stigma. Because I think we think stigma just affects us mentally, like we feel hurt, but it also triggers or actually hinders proactive movements. So if I'm fearful of being COVID-19 positive, because I know how people are going to think, and I start to feel tired, excessively tired, and I don't go to the hospital, and I don't call the Ministry of Health, and I don't even consider checking if I have COVID, we have cases now where we see people die at home without even getting diagnosed.
They'll die at home.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary, because that's what stigma does.
Yep.
People are afraid to come forward and get the necessary help that will save their lives, because you have to get the help early. You have to. So it prevents them from seeking the medical help that they need immediately. And let me tell you, Marlene, this thing moves fast. It moves fast. I went from having sniffles to a cough to wheezing, and I mean, I'm talking about in the middle of a day and a half to 2 days. Wow. And I could literally feel it going into my lungs. It was going into my lungs and it was going down my lungs. It's a scary, scary thing because of the quickness. And then the other thing, it wants you to lie down. It's almost like a thing. It's like a person. You're fatigued and tired, and all I want to do is lie down. And you cannot lie down, because the minute you lie down, it takes a hold of you and becomes gooey in your lungs. Right? It's like glue. So you cannot do that. So I had various people who were calling me and going, "Get up! You cannot lie down. Get up!" So I would get up, and I don't know how they knew I was lying down, but I'd go lie down because I was If you don't want to do that, and you've got to know all the different things that you have to be aware of that can happen. The stigma discourages people from adopting healthy behaviors. You know, going in and getting what they call the well care. Because sometimes you go in to get the things as preventions. People aren't doing those things, right? And then the last thing, the stigma, you come out now and you're alive, and they don't understand. When you're going through this, you seriously, because Marlene, I remember when I got the result that said I was positive, I am in my brain, I just know I had all the symptoms of COVID. Every one of them. I was going through them, and I knew it was mental. I knew it was mental, but it's such a scary thing. You know? So people, the stigma has got to, we've got to take control of it. So that people will be willing to go in and get the help, or more people are going to die. More people are going to die, and it's unnecessary. I put two little things here. Anyone can contract COVID. Anybody, regardless of race, creed, gender, anything else. Anybody can get it. It's just like you said, Marlene, it's like a flu, right? And but for the grace of God go I. Meaning, I could get it, you can get it, any one of us can get it. If, you know, it's God's grace.
Nobody is spared from this. And
Nobody.
for this reason, and for that reason, they're asking for folks to, if you know that you've got these symptoms, then what you need to do is to call so they can come and do a test on you. And
yeah, but then they come and they have a lot of things. You want to come to my house with all of that?
Well, thanks, Jenny.
You know how your neighbors are going to react because they come with their PPEs and the thing over their head. No.
But you've lived, and this is the reason, for this reason I really like the conversation, because you've lived it. What you're telling us is exactly the reality of exactly what happened.
Yeah.
No, you know what? No, don't come to my house. Come to you.
Yeah. And so I like your part about personal responsibility, because then there's this fine balance. We're talking about not stigmatizing people who are exposed or who do get COVID-19. Mm-hmm. But then also, we can't remove ourselves from the personal responsibilities that we have, or whatever selfish behaviors we may have. So, I mean, there are people out there who say, oh, well, everybody will get it, and most people will recover, I don't have to bother. Or you have the really selfish people that they want everybody else to wear a mask, but they won't wear one. When it really
that's it right there.
Yeah, and it is about people, who, it's respect for each other. That's what it is. And so, you have all these
other things, Marlene.
Yeah.
Some other things. You remember that picture that came out with all these people who were going to San Pedro for the last time before school opened?
Yeah.
And there were all these tons and tons and tons of people all day long. Some wore masks, a lot didn't. There was no social distancing.
Yeah.
And they went out to have their last fling.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the ways that you spread the illness.
Yeah.
The government said, we're going to shut down San Pedro. Instead of people, they already have been told that the virus is out there. Instead of staying put, they ran home to their families.
Yeah.
And took it not just to their families, but to their entire communities.
Yeah. Or the border jumpers and the risk. I mean, they reintroduced the virus back into the country just because they wanted to sneak across the border. So there is a personal as much as we don't want people to be stigmatized, there is a personal responsibility as well. Yeah.
Yes. And people need to see to understand personal responsibilities for all of us. All of us. Mm-hmm. I have to look at what it is that I'm doing or not doing and correct it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm asking folks to say, what is personal responsibility? Well, we have just discussed personal responsibility, really.
Yeah.
But what a personal responsibility.
So what is it? The willingness to accept the importance of standards that society establishes for individual behavior. The government has established that we wear masks. You see how the fight they had to have for folks to wear masks? Mm-hmm. I'm seeing more people, most of the people now I see with the masks. And I know in this place where I work, where I could do volunteer stuff, that they all wear their masks now. Yeah. They all do. And that's wonderful to see. It's really wonderful because nobody's beating on them anymore to go do that. They have accepted personal responsibility, and that's what they're doing. No excuses, right? Making strenuous personal efforts to live by those standards. If we all do what we're supposed to do, we can control this thing. Yeah. But everybody has to do their part. I can't expect you to do your part to protect me and I'm not going to do my part. We all have to do our part, all of us.
That is so true. We're so dependent on others.
That's right.
So, I mean, I could isolate myself as much as possible. I can limit my interactions, wear my mask, wash my hands, but I must interact with the rest of the world. Yeah. And that's part of the personal responsibility thing I wanted to talk about. Because when people come together, whether it's coworkers, close friends, or families, which is usually, it's the most likely place that you'll get COVID-19. Yes, so let's say siblings, for example. I may be playing it, or they may be playing it safe, but I might decide every weekend I want to go visit new friends. Yeah. maybe I wear a mask.
Boyfriend or go visit my girlfriend, and I don't know where
or
they
go
have been or
hang
what they've been
out,
doing.
or have those parties that we've seen them breaking up. They're house parties, they're small. But then I get back together with my family where everybody else is doing their safe part, and I may introduce it into them. And that's kind of the concept behind personal responsibility that we miss.
Yes. We people can bring. I know of one family where the brother brought it from San Pedro. You know, I don't want to describe because then people will know. But the thing is that brought it into the home, and there were elderly people in the home. There were people with diabetes in the home. It's sad. And people, again, I say we have to look at what is my part. What am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be contributing to protecting you as much as you're doing the same thing for me?
Yes, you're so right.
Yeah. It's personal responsibility. Now, addressing social stigma, I want Stephanie to walk in and start telling me to go away because I have a couple of things that are really
probably
important.
will soon. Go ahead.
So, we have to really be careful of the language we use. I know Ministry of Health has really gotten much better with their language. And I've seen some really positive changes. So kudos to Ministry of Health. Be careful of the language you use. Refer to people who are COVID-19 positive or being treated for COVID or recovering from COVID. They're not cases or victims. Oh, she's a COVID-19 victim. That is so, and one is so insulting, and two, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor.
That's right.
Tell me what I am.
Yes,
I'm a
survivor.
Okay. People presumed to have COVID-19 are not suspects or suspected cases. You see the language? You see the difference in the language?
Yeah.
Okay. I went to the WHO website because they are really pushing. Remember with HIV how bad it was for a long time?
Yeah.
And they just kept on working with the language and working with the medical people, and things got much better. But look how many years it took. We can't afford that with this. We have to really get out there, and we all need to take our part and talk about this stuff, you know?
That's right.
Don't talk about transmitting COVID-19 as infecting others or spreading the virus. That's one of the things that the reporters need to really be paying attention to their language as they talk about this, because people listen to them and they use the same vernacular they're using. Okay? What that does when you say that somebody's spreading the virus, it's almost like they're intentionally doing that. And it assigns blame to the person who is ill. Right?
Yeah.
Say something, guys.
No, I'm listening because it makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
I remember the language shift for HIV. I know that in the Cancer Society, they've been pushing for the same. You don't say victim of cancer or deadly cancer because the words matter.
Yeah.
Words matter. Words matter.
So, you know, it is something that we haven't thought about when we think about COVID-19 as well. Yeah.
4, using negative words that criminalize or dehumanize.
Yeah.
So it creates the impression that people who are COVID positive have done something wrong, or that they're less than. You know? Then people instead of stay home, they shouldn't come into the workplace because then it spread this disease, because look how much I will catch it now, and I must spread them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not just if you test positive. I think one of the bigger not bigger.
Yes.
You also face a lot of stigma if you have a relative who tested positive.
Yeah.
If I have a relative who tests positive and I test negative or didn't have contact with them, imagine what it'd be like if you go back to your workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the scary thing is, Marlene, what people they forget, there's a lot of people out there who are asymptomatic.
Yeah.
That's
nobody knows that they have the
nobody
illness.
knows that they have it, and they're
They
walking
don't
around.
know in a lot of
Yes,
cases.
they don't know that they have it, and it's just unfortunate that there are people, and there are cases that folks they're totally asymptomatic. They don't know. We're feeling good, just like I am, moving around with my hands. But at the same time, I could be that, I could be one that is asymptomatic. But for this reason, Jenny, and for this particular program, we're telling people, wear your mask, social distance. Yes.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. These things, these are all the guidelines that we need to follow. And as long as we could do that for us, we're doing it for them as well.
Yep. That's my point. John, you just summarized for me, dude.
I got you too,
Very
Jenny.
important. Don't spread rumors. Don't repeat or share unconfirmed rumors.
Yeah.
Go get the facts. Go online. Go check CDC. Check WHO.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's so sad, while you're saying that, it's so sad that there are folks out there, especially on social media, portraying to be a media house and just be spreading information, false information, just to get a laugh out of it. And that is not funny, especially with a virus that could kill.
That kills.
Yeah.
That kills.
So wow. That's unfortunate.
Next slide. I just put three little things in there. One, somebody sneezing without covering their mouth. That's the one thing on the buses. I get nervous on the buses because there are some people who just do that stuff without care,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we just have to keep educating.
Well, I mean, I think what you're saying is a point that has actually been bubbling in the wider community for a while. Maybe we're not thinking through public transportation enough. We know that even in crowded spaces, there's an increased risk. And if you're wearing a mask, that may help, but not everyone is wearing it properly, and not everyone has access to clean their hands as much. Yeah. So, and that's a whole lot of kind of worms we can open.
Yeah. I just want to say to folks out there, you ride on the bus, you need to clean your masks. You need to wash it.
Wash your mask.
Because you could have virus on it and not know. Especially when you stick it under your chin like this and wear it under here. Whatever you came in contact with, that's under there. You're putting it on your face afterwards, and you're exposing yourself, But sneeze into your arm. Do the things that they've taught us to do.
The bend of your elbow.
We all do it. Where everyone is protecting the other person. Clean your hands after coughing or sneezing. Use your sanitizer.
Yes.
The little bottles they have now, they're very inexpensive. Just have your sanitizer. Make sure it has enough alcohol content in it.
Of course.
But yeah, please use it. How then shall we live? How do we deal with the stigma? Facts. Get the facts.
Right.
Get the facts. If you have the facts, you're not going to be afraid. Get the facts. Like there's no more that I can say. Get the facts.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to do. I had a little thing here. I was going to do a relaxation because we've talked about some really heavy things here today, and I felt like we should do a relaxation, but we don't have time. I can tell you, I know Stephanie's pacing back there.
Can I just ask you? We always know how, and it feels so great to have you because just talking these things out loud. Instead of just having it playing around in your head, it helps a lot.
Yes, it does.
Should we just maybe be encouraging people to talk about how they're feeling during this time, normalizing the fears and what are some of the things? Because we're not all conversationalists, and some of us like to talk more than others. How do you get the conversation going, whether in workplaces or in families?
Remember the 4 questions I put at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a family, for example, when you sit down to remember we've been advocating for a long time about having meals together. Well, you're stuck together, have meals together.
Yeah.
And I just asked one simple question: how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
How are you coping?
Yeah.
What are your feelings right now? Because you know who's suffering? The children, the school children, especially the high schoolers.
Yeah.
Really, really suffering. Well, I can't just say high schoolers, the primary school children also.
Yeah, they are
really suffering because they don't see their friends, they don't see their teachers. This is so different. And maybe during the school year, you would like to have a day off that you can stay home, but to be home all the time and not be in school. And I mean, it's very difficult for them. So really critical as parents to sit down, make time, carve some time out of your day to just sit and find out how each child is doing. Your spouse, your partner, how are you doing?
Your parents.
How are you coping out there? Yes, especially your parents.
Yeah, because I worry about the mental health of the elderly as well. Those
yes.
who are at home just either, I mean, I don't know, they're different spectrums. Some can be paralyzed because they are most at risk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe rejecting seeing everyone. And, you know, some of them are saying, well, you know, I have to go anywhere at the frustration of their family.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to kind of have it hanging over your head when you hear all the time, elderly are high risk, elderly are high risk.
Yeah. And it's not, let's not stick with that. Let's just say elderly are high risk, but the people with diabetes, people with high blood pressure, heart problems, overweight people, they're all at risk. We're all at risk.
Yeah.
We're all at risk.
And the thing is, when we stay at risk, not just of contracting the illness, but once you contract it, of it killing you.
Yeah.
Because your body can't fight it off the way someone who is healthier can fight it off. And so this is why we have to protect these people in our homes. And so for the people out there who are refusing to wear the mask, think about your grandma and your mom and parent people in your home who you are bringing this to. And will you be able to live with the guilt of knowing that you potentially put them in great danger? Okay? Really, really pay attention to that.
Yeah. All right. Well,
my last slide.
yes.
May all beings live peacefully. It's been a journey for me. It's been a lesson, and I don't mind talking to folks because I think people need to understand just this is a journey. It's been a tough journey. It still is a journey because, like I said, I still have some of the lasting effects. Can you imagine if it had been if I got the worst case of this, which a lot of people have?
Yeah.
You know?
No, we don't want to think about that.
No, we don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
Don't put it to say, imagine.
All right. Well, we are happy that you are COVID-free. We hope that the rest of the symptoms leave you faster than the couple of months that people say. And, thank you, because we really need to have these conversations more. And I hope the people at home who are watching consider kind of just talking through what we're feeling. Trust me, you are not the only one who feel out of sorts.
Yeah.
All of us are. And if we talk about it together, it really helps a lot to know that you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just talking, listening.
Yeah.
Give the children the opportunity to talk. Leave the door open for them to come to you and talk to you. Because I really believe that they're the ones suffering the most. Well, the elderly too, but the children are really suffering because they cannot understand. And if they get the opportunity, find I don't know how you find opportunities to be able to have them, maybe 2 or 3 of them that family-wise, to get together and see each other, just so they have some contact with other school children.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the social skill loss that they're going to have?
But while that's there, Jenny, there are a few things that they could definitely gain as well. So we could imagine the social skills lost, but at the same time, we can also imagine some of the gains of sharing love from a distance, learning to love from a distance, which of course is something that is real. We're so used to being next to each other to share that love, when in reality we can do it from a distance. So there are things that we can learn from the social distance.
We are social beings, though.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard. And so we really have to take some time to talk to the children.
Yeah.
And yes, explain to them, as you said, John, that let's make the best we can of this.
Make the best.
But open up the opportunity for them to talk with you as mom and dad. Make the opportunities, please.
All right, Jenny, it's so nice to have seen you for this morning. We're so glad to see you. We're so glad that you're doing okay. And like Marlene mentioned, we do wish that, we do hope that, all these symptoms leave you so you can feel better and better. But we love you a lot and we wish you all the very best. Just before you leave though, Jenny, I've got a song for you so you know that we're here with you. And it's called It's You Are Not Alone. I am here with you. Though you're far away, we are here to stay. You are not alone. Who sing that song, Jenny?
Michael Jackson.
That's my girl. You're the original. Love it.
Jenny energy. All right.
Thank you.
And with that,
we're about to take that break. When we come back, we've got a message of unity. There's a song out. It's called Stay Strong. The DJ, the producer actually, is going to be in with us when we come back. This is Opening Rise.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.